Hi friends, Apex Legends Season 8 launches next week, so I felt this is the perfect time to do a recap on the full story of Apex Legends, all the way back to the start of the game. Hopefully this video is perfect for those of you that haven't played the game for a while, but even those of you that do play the game regularly, hopefully this will help refresh your memory on the story and the journey we've been on so far, all the way up to now in Season 8. Apex Legends is one of the most story-rich battle royales ever created. You see, it all started with a bunch of brave soldiers, all entering the games for different reasons, some for money, some for fame, and others for more mysterious reasons. We started with Bangalore, a soldier in the wars that took place before the Apex Games. There was also Bloodhound, a hunter and a tracker with a powerful past. There was Caustic, a dark and sadistical scientist with a love for toxic gases. There was Lifeline, the daughter of war profiteers, who is also a trained medic. There's Gibraltar, a biker who joined the games to protect his friends after a tragic accident. We also have Pathfinder, a Marvin unit who woke up without his memories and dreams of finding his creator. And then there's Mirage, a bartender who uses holograms to bamboozle people. He actually has a really sad and tragic past, but he covers up all of this with humour. And finally we have Wraith, a scientist. She doesn't really remember her past so well, but she has interdimensional abilities that people don't quite understand. Moving into Season 1, Octane was introduced to us. Octane's a stuntman and an adrenaline junkie, who's also a social media hero that one day took a stunt too far and accidentally blew off his legs. He then convinced his friend Lifeline to get him a pair of mechanical legs, and that gave us a super fast legend entering the games. Now towards the end of Season 1, a mysterious laptop appeared on the map, suggesting something interesting was about to happen. As we moved into Season 2, we saw the laptop in the hands of a mysterious figure. That mysterious figure blew up the repulsor tower, and suddenly all of the wildlife started flocking back to the island. The Syndicate wasn't able to catch them in time, so these mysterious creatures, flyers and leviathans, started to be found around the map. By the way, the Syndicate are the ones that control the games. They're basically a bunch of powerful, super rich corporations that run a bunch of planets and in turn own and command the games. Now as the games kicked off for Season 2, we were also introduced to Watson, a charming and happy scientist that actually invented the closing ring technology after being commissioned by the Syndicate to do so at a very young age. Watson actually learned everything she knows about electricity from her father, as her father was the lead electrical engineer for the Apex Games. Sadly, her father died the day the closing ring technology was revealed, and she actually relied on the other legends to support her as her family. Through the battles in Season 2, we eventually got to a stage where a lab was introduced, called Sing Labs, and this lab held the secrets of Wraith's past. We learned she was part of an experiment called Project Wraith that actually she herself helped set up. She volunteered for this project, and it led to experiments being done on her, which made her lose her mind slightly. Although this was actually the Wraith in another universe, and the Wraith in our universe went to rescue the Wraith in the other universe. Well, I guess technically she went there for revenge, but she ended up rescuing the Wraith that we currently have now in our universe. Yes, I know that gets a bit confusing, where we actually have two Wraiths, but the Wraith that was in our universe is now in a different universe, and that universe's Wraith is now in our universe, and yeah, it gets all kind of strange from there. But hey, one other cool thing we got from this event was the Voidwalker skin. So not only did we get to learn about Wraith's past, but we got one of the best skins the game has ever seen. Anyway, leaving all that dimensional travel craziness behind, later that season we also saw a mysterious figure. That same mysterious figure we saw with a laptop in Season 2. Turns out this figure was back, causing all kinds of havoc by hacking into the systems. And this led into Season 3. That same mysterious hacker was in fact a hacker called Taejun Park. His story is that he stumbled onto an algorithm with his sister that essentially showed the Apex Games were rigged and people were making money from it. His sister wanted to use it, however Taejun Park said no. But the people that were using and created the algorithm somehow found out that these two got hold of it. One day, when Taejun Park wakes up, he sees his sister has supposedly been killed and he's been framed for it. He has to shed his identity and become Crypto. As Crypto, he was the one that destroyed the repulsor tower as a distraction, all so he could hack his way into the games. Of course, the Syndicate are way too smart for that and they weren't really fooled, but they let him into the games anyway, although they were still suspicious of him. Season 3 also saw the Legends move the games to a planet called Talos, and a specific area on Talos called World's Edge, which was actually an old mining colony before it froze over. During the holiday of Season 3, Mirage bought a really cool party boat to World's Edge, leading to some awesome party moments. But of course that can't have been cheap. Now all of this took us into Season 4 in the new year, where we met Forge, the new legend, somewhat of a hero, and as Forge was being introduced to the world as the new legend, suddenly Revenant, a simulacrum, which is basically a murder robot, suddenly pops up and kills Forge. He did this because it was a way of getting back at the Syndicate, but also because of his hunger to kill. This led to the Syndicate luring Revenant to join the games as the new legend for Season 4. Oh yeah, Hammond also introduced Planet Harvester in Season 4. Basically, it's this gigantic harvester that sucks up the resources of the planet and allows Hammond Industries to profit from them. We also learned more about Bloodhound, and it turns out Bloodhound actually grew up on Talos, and the flash freeze that hit World's Edge was also the cause of death for Bloodhound's parents. And this led to Bloodhound being raised by their uncle Arthur. Bloodhound was raised to live off the land and hunt, but also to dislike technology and to only believe in the old ways. But one day on a hunt, we saw Bloodhound's epic rise to being the ultimate Bloodhunder, combining technology with the old ways. But in these events, they sadly lost their uncle in the process. But in that sadness, Bloodhunder was born. Later in Season 4, we find that someone else snuck into the arena, leaving a hollow spray and some other secrets in the loot bunker. Turns out, this person actually had a vengeance plan. Bring on Loba, a sassy woman with parents who were murdered by Revenant. Remember in this video earlier on when I said Revenant was a murder robot and he had a thirst for killing? Well, it turns out one of those killing sprees he went on were actually Loba's parents, and she's on a mission for vengeance. Now this saw her sneak under Skulltown to destroy Revenant's source code. This is because Revenant is a simulacrum, and basically, his source code lies protected, and every time he dies he gets reset into a new body, as long as his source code is uploaded in the location and is protected. Somehow Loba managed to find this location under Skulltown, but when she tries to destroy it, she ends up shooting bulletproof glass that triggers some protection mechanism that transfers Revenant's source code to Persanthe, another planet in the Outlands. And in doing this, it also triggered a self-detonation of this facility that also ends up destroying Skulltown. Of course, the Syndicate was not happy with this, but they struck a deal with Loba. She entered the games with a secret deal. She would find an artifact that was hidden in pieces in another realm, a realm controlled by Shadow Revenant, which is actually an alternate reality where Shadow Revenant controls the games, and we have Shadow Prowlers and all other kinds of spooky stuff. But of course a challenge like this meant Loba needed to trick the other legends into helping her. The reward for Loba doing this would be the Syndicate would give her coordinates of where to find Revenant's source code on Persanthe. Now in these events, of course Loba didn't want Revenant knowing she was hunting for a way to kill him, so her and the other legends kept it a secret from Revenant. However, there was a mole. This person told Revenant everything, leading to a great show-off between Loba and Revenant, face to face, in a standoff, where no one knew what was going to happen. Now this is where it gets a bit strange. It turns out Revenant actually wants to die, but he can't kill himself because of his programming. So now the story flips. Now Revenant wants to help Loba destroy his source code, but this meant Loba had a decision to make. If she kills Revenant and gets revenge for her parents, she's basically helping him out of the misery of continuing to die and come back again continuously. But more on this later. Anyway, remember that mole I told you about? It turns out it was Caustic. Caustic was the one that told Revenant everything, but he actually framed Crypto when he did that. So everyone actually thought it was Crypto, including an injured Watson, which was sad because Crypto was starting to get very close to Watson, but these events broke that friendship. As we move through the story, Gibby was the only one that found out the truth by the time we reached the end of the Season 5 quests. Now at the end of Season 5, we found out that the artifact the legends were hunting for was in fact the head of Ash, a simulacrum who was actually an apex predator back in the Titanfall days. When the legends assembled the head onto the body of Ash, she spouted out some words, including Olympus, and some other random names, all of which seemed to worry Octane and Lifeline, because they actually grew up on Olympus, and they didn't really want to go back there. Oh, and one more important thing happened before the end of Season 5. We found out that Crypto's sister was actually alive. She somehow escaped her captors and was lying low, but she did give Crypto a warning. Someone was watching him. And all of this leads into Season 6. At the start of Season 6, we got to see the legendary Blisk, the ultimate Apex Predator, and the commissioner for the Apex games. Now in his job for finding new talent for Apex Legends, he recruited Rampart to the games. We also saw the legends go back to World's Edge in Season 6, and on World's Edge, there was some new equipment there, including a rocket, seemingly getting ready to take the legend to another location. Of course, Mirage had to take Rampart on as a roommate. Remember that party boat I told you about earlier in the video? Well, it turns out he spent all of his money on that party boat, and so he had to take on Rampart as a roommate because he needed the money. but this was the start of a really funny and kind of blossoming romance that hopefully we'll get to see more of in Season 8. Oh yeah, and Pathfinder finds Ash in a dumpster, he then rebuilds her and they become boyfriend and girlfriend. Well, at least in Pathfinder's head. But sadly, there are no happy endings in Apex Legends. Blisk turns up and takes Ash with him as they disappear, but not before warning her that an old friend had returned. Now in the lead up to Season 7, we learn this old friend was actually Horizon. You see, Ash and Horizon were on an important mission to harvest Baranthium to solve the energy crisis. But Ash betrayed Horizon and left her stranded in a black hole. This was actually when Ash was a human and it took place 87 years ago. But fast forwarding back to the present day, Season 6 ends and we get Horizon arriving back on Olympus 87 years later. And on her return, she realised that everyone she knew on Olympus was no longer around. And that while she only thought it was some 300 odd days stuck in the black hole, due to the way time works in black holes, she was actually gone for 87 years. So on her return, she joined the games with the ultimate goal of getting back to her son whom she left those 87 years ago. She also brought with her a friendly drone called Newt, which was named after her son. Throughout Season 7 we got to see Olympus, and we also got to meet some more people from our Legends pasts. We got to meet Gibraltar's boyfriend, who he had a bit of a checkered past with after some very harrowing events. We also got to meet Lifeline's parents, who it turns out aren't very nice, and in meeting them, we got to learn a little bit more about what the Syndicate was planning, and this is when we started hearing about a Salvonian warlord who the Syndicate were trying to make a deal with. In Season 7 we also got to learn about Pathfinder's backstory, the amazing story of a special Marvin unit who had a very special purpose, except he can't really remember what that purpose was because he was shot and when he woke up he lost all his memories. We also learned the origins of Pathfinder's boxing skills. It turns out it's something he learnt from a friend, a former police officer who was actually on a mission to bring down Caustic. Now towards the end of Season 7, we started to get teasers from Horizon's son, and learnt there were actually messages from a future Horizon where she tells current day Horizon that eventually she does make it back to see her son. This was super heartwarming because we know through Horizon's story, her son was the most important thing in her life. And her one mission in joining the games was to be able to find a way to get back to her son. Oh, and there's more. Loba finally makes a decision on what to do about Revenant. Turns out, instead of helping him destroy his source code, she manages to find it on Psanthe and sends it into the abyss. Basically, she sent it far, far away, so Revenant will never find it. Of course, Revenant wasn't very happy about that, and again, I'm sure we'll get to see in Season 8 what this means for the rivalry between Loba and Revenant. There were a few more developments as well. We got to see Crypto and Watson become friends again. Crypto finally opens up and reveals his true name to Watson, and the two start to build a relationship again. And this brings us to the end of Season 7 and the launch of Season 8, with the story of Fuse, a rebel in Salvo who decides to leave his best friend behind and become the first Salvonian to join the Apex Games. Now his friend Maggie isn't very happy about this, and she decides to throw a grenade at him, and in the process, she blows off his arm. He still leaves and he ends up with a mechanical arm. Now during his introduction to the games, as the next legend to all of the fans on King's Canyon, Maggie hijacks the ship and starts firing on people. Fuse manages to bravely neutralise the ship and the weapons, but Maggie has a backup plan and blows up the island. Fuse, being the hero that he is, saves the friendly Marvin unit, while the other legends try to help the fans, except Gibraltar, who decides to usher them away instead of using his super powerful dome shield. Yeah, that one left a lot of people scratching their heads, trying to work out why didn't he just throw down his dome shield. Anyway, that brings us up to Season 8. There are definitely a few open storylines that I can't wait to see develop in Season 8. For sure, Apex Legends Season 8 is going to be awesome and hopefully bring us tons of lore. For now though, don't forget to hit the big red subscribe button, come join our community of friends, and I hope you found this recap informative and useful in bringing you up to speed as we jump into Apex Legends Season 8. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.